Welcome to the Fearfic Podcast. Fearfic is the term for short horror fiction, mostly posted on the web. It includes any and all related subgenres. Join three assholes talking basement goo Slimebeast, inebriated interstellar traveler Abysmii, and irritable ghostly man-horde Dead Palette, as they read all stories horror and internet-related, paragraph by paragraph, and bullshit while they do it. From adolescent revenge fantasies to subtle postmodern narratives about real-life events and everything in between, they read it and critique. You better believe it. Kick it to the cold open, white boy.
So I got this Rockstar X Durance Energy 0 calorie, 300 milligrams of caffeine, smashing blue cotton candy with natural flavors and 0 calories per can. We're going to see what this is like. It has BCAA aminos, which I'm sure is very, very healthy.
I think you're drinking, what's that substance called? Oh, yeah, antifreeze.
Oh, no, what now? Antifreeze? Yeah.
It sounds like antifreeze. Just what is it? Blueberry cotton or something?
Blueberry cotton candy antifreeze.
Well, there's been talk of Bang energy drink, and I was going to the store to buy some, but they were out, so I got this instead. And we're going to see what it's like. We went on an adventure Chelsea and I went on an adventure to find it, and no such luck. But we did have this blueberry bash. We're going to try some of this alt boomer sip juice.
Now, what alcohol are you mixing it with?
I'm not. I'm straight edge now. Straight edge. No. Smells good. Smells very good.
Ooh, it smells very good.
I'm getting notes of artificial sugar, notes of 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Give us some kind of signal when you start drinking it.
Wow, that is liquid cotton candy.
Gross.
It is what it promised.
I could tell it was pretty interesting when your voice changed for a moment after you drank it.
Yeah.
You took a sip and you were like, wow. God damn, there's oh.
There was the lining of his esophagus around his vocal cords just disintegrating.
He now sounds like a chain smoker.
Welcome back to Fearfic.
Welcome back to Fear. I'm the jittery janitor.
God damn it. Now listen, I want you to hook up Mercy and Farah, and I want you to make it canon, or we're going to have trouble.
So, y'all thought that was just a non sequitur. You thought that was a cold open. Nope. Jittery janitor.
Mm-hmm.
It was planned out from the beginning.
That's right. Y'all
the game
a
was
bunch
rigged
of
from
suckers.
the start.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of fucking suckers out there listening to this. Had no idea.
Now we can put in the metadata smashed blueberry cotton candy.
All right. We could actually put that as one of the hashtags at the top.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Blueberry cotton candy confirmed for Smash.
Ooh, Rockstar buries its way into battle?
Yeah, the janitor jitters his way into battle.
Yes. I'm the jittery janitor.
Yeah. You Splatoon kids, quit it.
Wasn't there a game like that was about being a janitor, like brooming up stuff? Where you just run around with a broom?
Was it the Viscera?
Yeah, Viscera cleanup crew.
No.
That's not really with a broom.
No, Dust Force or something like that?
Dust Force?
There was something like that, but I don't remember the title, but yeah.
Anyway, we're going back to the Fleming storage units. Fleming storage unit number 13, Jittery Janitor, by Skillfully.
None other than Skillfully.
Who the fuck is that? Why don't you guys explain to the people at home exactly who Skillfully is?
Skillfully is a janitor by day. Or a writer by night.
A jitterer by night.
Skillfully is longtime member of the community, hosts a podcast called Scare Your Friends, which different from ours in that he is showing creepypasta is
tits?
often
Oh, no,
notable.
okay.
Huh?
He's showing
His
tits?
tits?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's an audio show, unfortunately, so none of us can see. But he's showing his friends who have initially had no exposure to online horror fiction, as opposed to us, where we've all kind of read lots and lots of stories. So go check that out. Skillfully Circus.
.com.
Scare Your Friends podcast on the YouTubes.
That's right. That, once again, skillfullycircus.com /scareyourfriends.html.
And another big difference between Skillfully show and ours is no Monster Energy drinks, no Rockstar Sipper Booms.
Well, that we know of.
Mhm.
Maybe just haven't admitted to it.
Yes.
So this was written by Skillfully. It's on the toospooky.com website. It's part of the Fleming Storage Unit project. And let's see, what is his favorite pasta listed here? Oh, Funny Mouth. Interesting.
Suck up.
This is many reasons that this is not going to be perfectly objective, as if we ever claim to be objective about anything. But
You know what's really weird? Abysmii and 3 guests are viewing this topic. I'm logged out, so I'm one of the guests. I assume DP is another one, so there's a 4th person reading this right now.
Oh,
It's
no.
it's creepy. What does he
It's
want?
the Haunted Podcast.
No.
The
People are-
Hauntcast.
people are doing stuff on Too Spooky. What's going on?
Yeah, something's up. I don't trust it.
Oh, it must be a bot. Yeah.
Yeah, Russian sleeper agent.
Yep.
Ready
we go
to
to
critique the
Little
story.
Spooky website. This is how we infiltrate the American democracy.
With cabbage pierogies. Let's get into this.
Okay.
No.
This is why I never take on new clientele. The amount of unprofessionalism is just way too fucking intolerable. There I was, opening the storage locker a week ahead of schedule, which was such a dumb fucking move. We had our deadline, and it was agreed upon that the payment would be in full as long as everything was done beforehand, period, end of story. However, something unexpected must have happened, and the deadline got shifted. Fucking amateurs.
So this feels like a personal attack on us.
Yeah.
Like it feels very much so. Let me speak to your manager.
Yeah. Entitled Flea.
Entitled Flea, yes. Entitled Janitor.
So
DJ.
from this first paragraph, I feel like I'm picking up the idea that this is some sort of criminal enterprise.
Could be. I don't think it's explicitly so.
We had an agreement. There was a deadline. But now we have to do it sooner.
Well, it could be any kind of contract work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something where there's not necessarily a fixed schedule. So then you like a shifting schedule around. So they have agreed upon a schedule, and now everything has been thrown out of whack, and it's very inconvenient. And this person might be justifiably upset.
And how
Could
does
be-
this
It could be
involve...
shady work that is still legal, but like looked down upon by society, like being, I don't know, a private investigator or a repo person, something like that.
Right.
Or just like any sort of under the table handiwork.
Yeah.
Like fixing up a house or something like that.
All right.
Or
so-
like an under the table hand job.
Yeah.
Which is where I thought you were going with that, but I guess I was wrong.
No, I get my hand jobs above the table.
God damn it.
That's not exciting.
Over-the-counter hand jobs. So, yeah, let's find out exactly how this involves Marge and Homer Simpson. Continue, Abysmii.
Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be caught dead taking on a job like this. I generally work within my comfort zone and take on clients who are pieces of shit. When your clientele are the scum of the earth, they never have any moral high ground over you. Usually it's a corporation, a group of somewhat powerful individuals, or the occasional loving father with deep pockets trying to cover for their spoiled brat. I never judge.
Oh, he works for an MCN on YouTube.
Mhm.
Oh, God, yeah.
Normally I wouldn't work for Mad Pat, but
Which of those does he fall into? Is he the spoiled brat with a rich father? Is he the somewhat powerful individual, or is he a corporation? Or is he all
Yes.
three? Yeah.
yes.
Matt Pat
what is
Incorporated.
Matt Pat? Matt Pat is definitely a corporation. He has been hollowed out from the inside by the YouTube algorithm. He is the YouTube algorithm now.
Now, DP, saying that Matt Pat has been hollowed out from the inside is homophobic. Okay, so in the simplest of layman's terms,
Merge.
Merge.
It's homophobic.
I've been scooped out like that one part in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location.
Bart!
Matt Pat.
Bart's playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Merge. Bart won't stop
Okay.
playing FNAF.
Considering there was a League of Legends reference in a recent episode, I would not be surprised if there's a fucking episode where Marge plays Five Nights at Freddy's or some facsimile of it. Like, I really wouldn't.
Merge. Freddy Fazbear has come to Springfield.
So, like, I'm not even sure why we're doing this goddamn quote-unquote Homer Kermit
Blame
impression.
Abysmii. Blame Abysmii.
Someone who has, like, it, you know, the YouTube algorithm just every once in a while, not very often, every once in a while will recommend our videos to somebody, and somebody will be like, oh, you know, this might be something interesting, and they click on it, and they're like, why is he saying Marge while doing a Kermit impression? And I want you to know, individual I just described, I don't know either.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
The best memes are ones you don't understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the best memes are inside jokes that somehow can break through and then become everyone's inside joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't get the inside joke, you're a fucking smootkin.
Yeah, you're a Norman.
Mm-hmm.
God damn all these Normans and smootkins.
Homer, Bart has been taken by the RPC Foundation.
Oh no!
Good.
Alright. Don't look at SCP-173. In the simplest of layman's terms, I'm a janitor by trade, and specialize in cleaning certain objects to a very high standard, butt plugs.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Despite what you may think, the most...
Who can clean a butt plug?
if
Jittery Janner.
if it's sprinkled with dew...
Mountain Dew.
See, it all comes back. Rockstar Energy
Yeah.
drinks.
Yeah.
Despite what you may think, the most important aspect of my business has always been in trust. Shouldn't it be been trust? I don't know. They pay me for discretion, and I make their issues go away. If all goes well, then that's all it is. I go my way, they go theirs, and in an ideal world we never have to cross paths again. However, as unfortunate as it was, on this occasion one of my former associates came back with a more personal issue. I've
Okay.
killed Selma!
So is this like the wolf from Pulp Fiction? Is that the guy's name? I forget.
It's like your standard cleaner type
Yeah.
person, yeah. Fixer.
Listen, I'm a cleaner. Yeah, I can get into that. That's a pretty cool angle.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely different from everything else we've read so far, where it's person who is like everyone's victim of some circumstance, but no one is. It's always like some almost familial connection. This one's just this is a job I have to do.
Yeah.
It seems like the ones that we do like the most are the ones that take it in a different direction. So we'll see what this has on offer. So his wife finally retires after 36 years of clean, honest work and celebrates a little too much at her own retirement party. We need justice for Brad's wife. She was fired from Cracker Barrel. One thing led to another, and soon she's behind the wheel, heading back to her farmland where she imagines spending her golden years with her hubby-wubby.
Aw.
It happened on a quiet but sparsely lit dirt road with no streetlights. Basically, she hit someone. A youth who was out there doing God knows what at the wrong place at the wrong time. Thing is, the kid wasn't dead yet, and the wife didn't want to be found out. Do you know that when she spoke about it to me, she actually called it adoption?
Huh?
I don't know what they
Thing is,
mean.
The kid wasn't dead, and the wife didn't want to be found out. Did you know when she spoke to me about it, she actually called it? Oh,
Yeah, she picked the kid up, put him in the car,
okay.
took him away.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's how, as far as I know, that's how most adoptions occur.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit a kid, it's yours.
You break it, you adopt it.
Yeah. You adopt it, yeah. Oh, Mr. Pennyworth, we have a very strong, solitary rule at this orphanage. There's just one rule, which you'd think there were more, actually, this being a place for children, but the one rule is that if you break it, you adopt it, you see?
Now, look here, sir. I was just out driving my automobile, and then some small lad was doing a bunch of Rockstar energy drinks and jumped in front of my car.
Yes. Well, by law, by old-timey law, that child is now yours.
It was hit on your farmland, sir. Several weeks after this happens, the kid dies alone in some shitty barn, and she called it an adoption.
I would call it the aristocrats, but
Again, I would normally stay away from nutcases, but her dodgy husband was an old college friend from a lifetime ago. Friend is a very loose term for what he actually was, but he was one of the few clients from my past whom actually had seen my face. That's a very exclusive list of people to be wary of. We both knew what he could potentially do if I declined to help his wife. There weren't many alternatives. Okay, that's a fair enough setup.
They're furries.
Yeah.
The silver line... Oh, he was the one person who had seen my face. Everyone else had just seen my tail hole. The silver lining in all of this was that I was mainly dealing with the husband. Let's call him Frederick Fazbear. And not the ancient broad, whom I will now refer to as Marge, no Nutjob. Oh my god.
Marge, you can't go around adopting children. You can't go around adopting children with the front of your car. Oh my god, Marge.
Homer, this child has no head. We need to take him in.
Oh no. Not another non-mouth defeat. And not the ancient broad, who I will now refer to as entitled Nutjob. After the initial contact, Frederick sent me a fairly generic gray envelope that contained a list of instructions and a plane ticket to the location in question. There was an old rustic key with an orange sticker on it that had a 13 etched with a teal-colored marker.
I can hear in your voice you slowly slipping into comic book guy.
Me too. I was about to make the same comment.
Excuse me, who is slowly slipping into me? Everything else was fairly standard. I received half of my payment up front, and we agreed on a set date, and I gave him a list of every necessary item I would need to complete the cleanup. Nowadays, you can't even bring bottled water on a plane. They're especially strict in the States. So, DP, was there a rule about not having people in the units?
What do you mean? Oh, dead bodies in the units?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, because that seems like where we're going, so I'm assuming that's going to be subverted.
Maybe Ori was just related evidence of the dead body some other way.
Yeah. I mean, there's no rule that says it can't just be a leg, right?
Yeah.
Who says a severed orphan leg can't play basketball? Show me in the real book where that is.
It doesn't say that in the rules, Marge.
Santa's little helper can play basketball.
Just the dog looks, and it's just like, However, as I said, also Canadian cleaner. Is that what we're getting here?
Oh, not in the States.
In the States. However, as I said, I ended up going about a week ahead of schedule. I woke up one morning and saw the message. The plan was for me to leave on the 15th, but now their deadline was shifted from the 19th to the 14th. To make matters even more infuriating, the assholes never responded to my queries as to why they had decided to change this and never bothered to contact me again. Finally, for the classic cherry atop the shit-flavored sundae, the final message was written with proper grammar, and I knew Frederick didn't give two shits about being grammatically correct on message boards.
Dark web.
What?
Dark web.
I'd like to pause here and just say that this is well written. Sentence structure is good. Diction is good. Good stuff.
We haven't had this issue in a while. I haven't read a story like this in a while where everything is going fine, and then you get that uneasiness of like, all right, don't shit the bed.
Come on.
Don't eat your shit sundae in bed now. Come on.
Go to the kitchen counter, okay?
So, the fact this is written in proper grammar, I would assume means that the wife has written it to him.
Yeah, I think that's what they're implying.
And he's like, I'm not doing favors for her, I'm doing it for the friend.
Whatever. Normally, under these circumstances, there's no choice. There's no chance I even consider boarding the plane, or any fucking plane, taking off from that airport for the next 2 to 3 years. I would waste no time in burning that bridge and ensuring that the ashes wouldn't remain. I actually felt ill when thinking about the prospect of taking this job. A seldom occurrence for me, but I knew I couldn't risk avoiding it. He knew what I looked like. I had to go. There were no alternatives. The second time we've heard that.
Damn. So now we can actually title this video Dark Web Hitman Face Reveal Gone Sexual, quotation, or not quotation mark,
Red
question mark.
Red
Yeah,
arrow,
yeah.
circle.
Just a quotation mark at the end. In the event of a setup, my seat could be used for a flotation device. In the event of a setup, something I had to be ready for, I didn't want anyone involved to know the exact date nor time of my arrival. The original plan was for me to be there on the 15th. Yeah, to be there on the 15th. Okay, I'm just looking at the dates that he mentioned before. Logic would therefore dictate that I would now go at the latest possible time in response to the new deadline, which had pretty much blindsided me. They would expect the 14th, or possibly the 13th. So, if somebody is setting him up or onto him, he's thinking they would expect him to show up the day he's supposed to fly out there, is what he's saying, basically. Or like the day before, yeah.
So this is a very illustrative thing. I think a lot of stories get caught up in like, okay, we need to go from point A to point B, and then don't think out their narrator's mindset. And so this is a character who is cautious and is paranoid, is frustrated, and all of those things are really being bore out in the logic of what it is they're talking about and how they're talking about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a big reason why we're on board with this story.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking that Skillfully is a deep web hitman.
Yeah.
Or knows them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, he's a deep web janitor.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the reason I said that is I was thinking of that thing where it's like, don't hire a deep web or dark web hitman, because there's not actually hitmen on the deep web or dark web. There's just people who advertise and then keep your money because you can't tell the cops.
Don't hire a janitor on the dark web because they'll clean you out.
Aw, damn.
The first thing I did was purchase a new ticket with my own funds for a different plane at a different airport at a different time. One for the 11th instead of the 15th. I really did consider using the one given to me, but circumstances change. I was in a rare position of not fully trusting the client. I called in a few favors and arranged for a vehicle to be there waiting for me. I would land, complete the job, and then drive over several state lines before boarding a different plane in an entirely different state.
Uh-huh. Okay. Not much to really talk about there.
Yeah,
No,
we're getting a
good
lot
plan.
of setup. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
After landing, I headed for the storage facility first. That's where Frederick was supposed to leave a duffel bag filled with my shit.
Ew.
Yeah, that's okay.
Why
What is
did
this
he have
job again?
that?
I want you to shit in a bag, and then I'm going to drop it off somewhere undisclosed. You're going to need to go clean it up.
That's like that's some normal porn for normal people type fetish. That is like a common thing that people used to do in the world of wrestling. It's like if you really piss off people in the locker room, someone will shit in your duffel bag.
Well,
And there's a wrestler named X-Pac who shit into the duffel bag of this female wrestler that everyone hated because she was like a thought and just a bitch, and everyone hated her. And he shit into her duffel bag, and it's like, haha, that's what you get for being a stuck-up bitch.
Okay. And so he was admonished and fired?
No, everyone loved that.
they did an expose the very next day.
Well, you know, the world of wrestling is full of like backstabbing and politics, and she stabbed a lot of backs, so no one cared.
Ooh.
Homer, someone shit in my duffel bag.
Marge, you're a bitch sometimes to people.
It had to be the guy who was hooked on all sorts of hard narcotic drugs and was the only one brave enough to take a shit in her duffel bag, but everyone applauded him.
As he was doing it.
Hey, diddly ho, Marge, gonna shit in your duffel bag?
Yes, that is exactly what X-Pac sounds like.
They call me X-Pac. The X is for the crucifix our Lord was crucified on.
The X is for excrement.
The X is for
Go in your duffel bag.
Excrement Pac.
I guess I could have just purchased the supplies locally without risking a possible trap, but I didn't know the area very well. Frederick also had everything ready for me a week in advance, and if no one knew I was there, it further decreased the likelihood of running into something devious. The second I pulled up to the place, I was screaming and cursing Nutjob's name as loudly as my lungs could manage. Nutjob! Nutjob! Witness me! The cops were here, just a fucking pen full of pigs walking around the place. That's a fun sentence. I like that.
It is.
It's
If
also
someone-
a fun 1980s board game, Penful of Pigs.
Don't break the ice. If someone had tipped them off, they would be hidden, and honestly, I don't attract enough attention to warrant that many of them. Being infamous would be bad for business. Even if I did, the ideal situation would be to nab me while I was in a building, and they wouldn't want to scare me off.
All right, so how on board are we with the idea that he would go anywhere near any place with cops, regardless of how you could justify it?
I think it depends on what his job is to do,
Yeah,
because I think if I know that, I'll be able to gauge better the risk inherent.
right. Because if it's like, I had to take 72 corpses out of the storage unit, then it would be like, yeah, don't do that with cops around, even if they're not looking for you. But yeah,
Mhm.
still.
It's also a matter of how much plausible deniability he has at any given moment.
Right.
And I think he possibly does have plausible deniability here.
Right. Still, something was going down, and the whole situation smelt about as foul as one could get. There was definitely at least a few common folk walking around as well, so it was possible to blend in. I'm just picturing villagers from like a medieval village. Common folk.
The cops open up he arrives, and right as he's getting there, the cops open up the storage unit and see there's a dead body inside. It's like, there's a dead body inside, and he's like, oh, who could have saw that coming? How'd that get there?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. And this
Wow.
duffel bag here,
Dead
bag,
body.
don't check the DNA of the shit in that duffel bag. It won't lead you anywhere. But yeah. My nerves were definitely acting up, though. I was nervous, yes. I was rushing, and I was being way too sloppy. Having the floor plans on hand allowed me to know exactly where I needed to go, but the key actually slipped out of my hand at one point. Gross. I nearly had a panic attack finding the damn thing, pacing back and forth, retracing my steps several times over. It had fallen in my shoe. Old
Wouldn't you
shoe
feel
key.
that?
Old shoe key over here.
I think you would feel that if it's like a key for a storage unit, which are typically, not small keys. You'd probably feel that.
He might have a prosthetic foot.
Maybe.
It's true.
It fell into my prosthetic foot.
It
That
fe-
also.
And angry? What? No. It fell into the lock on my prosthetic foot and unhitched it from me.
I tripped, and cartoon sounds played loudly.
Wow.
Yep.
You want to do a shoey? Do you know what a shoey is?
Is that when you shit in someone's shoe?
Mm-hmm.
It is when you pour beer into a shoe and drink it.
Ugh,
Ooh.
The Australians do this.
Ugh.
gross.
Yeah, they're criminals.
I mean, yeah. Guys, Australians, you're not prisoners anymore. You don't have to resort to these things.
In the wild, they didn't have cups, so they needed to use shoes. I don't. So there I was inside the storage locker. Almost
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. We have to back up a minute. If you're in the wild and you're drinking out of a shoe, like a beer or whatever, what did you bring the beer in? It came in a container. Just drink it out of that.
They came in boots, obviously.
What the fuck?
Boots to shoes.
Boots to shoes.
Always go boots to shoes.
Never go boot to mouth.
Full boot. Yeah, that's better. So there I was inside. So there I was, barbecue on my titties. So there I was inside the storage locker almost a full week ahead of schedule. I was irritable and felt like a nervous wreck, all because a couple of fucking amateurs. This had to be done quickly. There wasn't much to be said for the contents of the locker. To the immediate left of the entrance was this deer head that I guess was supposed to be mounted to a wall or something. That is generally what you do with deer heads. That is a weird thing to mention. People are very familiar with the concept of mounting a deer
You
head
have
to
to
a
understand. You have to understand. This is a furry. Remember, we established that. So they might use it for something else.
So there was a deer head there, a hollowed out deer head, and I didn't know what it was for. Possibly it was for pouring alcohol into and drinking out
Oh,
of.
God damn it.
Instead, it was just sadly lying there, face down, in the cold, hard, metallic floor. There were several stacks of folding chairs resting along the entirety of the unit's right inner wall, and a stack of folding tables adjacent on the left side. Near the back left corner was the old fax machine and several plastic crates of electronic equipment carelessly discarded in a mangled mess around the back. I grabbed the outdated rust bucket and moved it forward to the center of the back wall. Sure enough, as Frederick had instructed, there was a black duffel bag behind it, the old machine.
Behind it, the old machine.
There it is, the poop bag.
Yep. I wish it had been a brown duffel bag. That would have been perfect.
So I'm going to reread that. Sure enough, as Frederick had instructed, there was the black duffel bag behind it, the old machine. That's
Right.
a weird way to phrase that.
I think
That's a typo.
Yeah, it was behind it, and then I think he went back and decided to change it to behind the old machine, but something
Or
happened
forgot
where
a
it didn't
comma.
get deleted.
You forgot a comma after it.
No,
Behind it, the old machine.
no, it's what I said.
No.
No.
Merge the duffel bags behind the old machine.
Do it. Pick up your shit-covered bag.
Execute order 6-6, and then he shits into the duffel bag.
Oh, man.
Execute order double deuce.
Oh, yeah.
This duffel bag is fully full of shit now.
People have been calling us Sith Lords. We're actually shit lords.
I locked up and quickly scattered, making sure to avoid eye contact with anyone that remotely smelt like... Oh, okay. That caught me off guard. It's referring to cops, but that's just... That's like a really funny quirk to have. I don't like that guy. Why? What's wrong with him? Smells like bacon. I don't trust it.
Damn right.
I can't go out with her. What's wrong with her? She seems perfectly fine. She has a good job. Yeah, but smells like bacon.
Yep.
Remotely smelled like bacon until I was safely in my car. My next destination was about 3 hours away at the location of the body. Uh-oh. There it is.
He got around it, DP. The body's not in the storage unit.
Absolute mad lad.
How do you feel about your rules being subverted and flouted right in your face?
That was the point.
How dare you?
Just as long as there's no other dead bodies in there, besides the dead body I put there.
The foster parents of the year decided to temporarily bury the boy in some woods. About 3 miles off the path of a nature trail. Frederick tried to convince Nutjob that they had done enough to not get caught, but she decided to go back anyway. I was baffled when she informed me that she, in her own words, had placed a fake cranberry bush to cover up sight. That should be cover up the site.
To cover up sight, you say.
In America,
where's
they
our fake
use...
cranberry bush?
I put it over the dead boy's grave.
Yeah.
Which one?
Did you fertilize the fake cranberry bush?
I shat all over it.
Okay, that works.
This is a very scatological episode.
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, diddly
No.
ho, neighborinos. Have you seen my duffel bag?
Sorry, Skillfully.
Sorry,
sorry, shit in your duffel bag.
What was the ridiculous jokes we made when we were reading Lolliot's Jeff the Killer attempt? 'Cause there's a bunch of dumb shit in that one, too.
Damn,
Oh,
Abysmii with that shade. Attempt.
can't remember.
Good God.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
It wasn't snaked in the face bullshit. That was
Yeah. I do
That's not bullshit, that's genius.
I do
Is it?
also want to say that I also apologize to Scatflea, so.
Aw.
Whose turn is it to read?
One Beast.
Okay.
Who the fuck?
Who the fuck would have a fake cranberry bush lying around?
New duffel bag. Who shit?
Dumpelbag. What would possess someone to do this? Yeah, who would have a fake cranberry bush lying around? What the fuck? I wish this was the craziest thing I've ever seen a paranoid client do. This is why you simply avoid amateurs and nutcases, no matter how much the pay is. In any case, I had the exact coordinates of the location provided by Frederick. Find the spot Finding the spot wasn't as hard as finding the G-spot. Finding the spot wasn't going to be difficult, but still turned out to be incredibly frustrating. Yeah. It was about 1 p.m. when I parked the car. No one else was here, except for one other car. Well, then someone was there. No one else was here except for one other car that was parked near the entrance. The trail itself was fairly small, and the couple had only gone about a quarter mile up before deviating from the pathway. However, they did manage to run into every goddamn thorny and irritable brush along the way for the remaining 3-mile excursion.
That's a good bit. Eventually, I didn't even need to look at the GPS app anymore. There were obvious signs of man-made disturbances. I was even able to locate several of the footprints and broken branches amongst the plant life. They must have thought they could hide the crime by placing the evidence in a hard-to-reach area. To be fair, the logic probably sounds somewhat sound to your average Joe, but I was still clearly dealing with a couple of morons. They would have been able to find out eventually, so all they had achieved was making their savior's life that much more difficult and expensive?
Yeah, the narrator. He's their savior.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna bury somebody, bury them really deep, and then bury like some roadkill or something on top of that, so that
and on top of that, bury the fake cranberry bush.
Yeah.
On top of that is your topsoil.
On top of that, you bury Murg. But yeah.
In this episode of Fearfic, Christopher Howard Wolf teaches you how to kill someone and get away with it.
Yeah, and Brandon Patrick shits in duffel bags. Which one is worse, you decide. But yeah, just put some roadkill buried on top of the body so that the cadaver dogs look like they got a fake hit. So yeah.
It depends on who you kill, and it depends on whose duffel bag is being shat into.
Okay.
To be safe, kill like a moose and make that your roadkill.
Yeah.
It's like ages to get through that.
That's right. All right.
So you killed a lady, and you cut open a moose and put the lady's dead body in there. Why did you do that? I wanted to keep the dead body warm.
Yeah.
And I thought it smelled bad on the outside.
Right.
Hey-o.
All right. So
now we're getting into it. We're getting into, I'm guessing, the reveal, the conflict here. It's just the story is taking its time, and that's not a bad thing at all. I think we've been reading a lot of short Fleming units recently, so this one does feel its length.
It's girth.
Feel the length. Is this Abysmii?
Yes. It probably took me a little over 40 minutes, maybe 50, give or take, thanks to the goddamn thorns and insect bites that were all hidden in his
bites?
Insect bites.
Oh, skillfully with your circus. Come on now.
Insect bikes and hotel soups.
Haver is a very weird town.
Yeah.
It was at that point where I finally was able to set my bag down and had a much-needed laugh at the sight I was looking at. The fucking Charlie Brown Christmas tree would have been a more suitable decoy. It was almost as if this unfortunate mangled mass of green plastic stick-like objects were desperately assembled together in an attempt to resemble any type of plant life in the absence of any kind of hope. It was a long sentence.
Yeah, that sentence was like a colonoscopy. A lot of twists and turns, and shit in a duffel bag.
And you had to drink a weird thing to illuminate the inside of your colon. Some of fake branches, some of the fake branches of the bush had these reddish beads on them, while others were partially rusted. Did she think they were supposed to be the cranberries? More questions that would never be answered.
These are very dead palette writing problems. Very, very dead palette typos.
A very dead palette Christmas. Open your present. It's shit. After pulling the bush, quote unquote.
I don't just shit into everything.
Just most things.
Yeah.
No. Like, if I'm going to shit into a duffel bag, it's going to be an event. Okay.
Yeah, Christmas is an event, so what's the problem?
Okay. Point, counterpoint. Fair enough.
What if you just shat in a duffel bag for like several months and then just left it unattended at the airport?
No, what if you shit into a duffel bag and then take it to the airport, fire a gun into the air. TSA runs at you, and as they're running at you, you start spinning around with the duffel bag, and then as they get close to you, you fling the duffel bag at them at full force like it's a hammer throw.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds much more logical. Okay, anyway.
Look, I get visuals in my head, and I need to describe them.
After pulling the quote-unquote bush out of the ground, what if you filled a fursuit with shit and took it to a convention and just sat it there, you know?
That you do realize that has already happened.
Somebody filled a fursuit with shit?
There's already furries who walk around in diapers and shit into them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, head to toe, you just take the empty costume and just shit in it until it's full.
Does your shit hang low? Does your fursuit overflow?
Can you give them your knot? No, wait, it was time to dig. It was a fairly shallow grave, and it didn't even take 10 minutes before I was hitting cheap plywood. You should know that I charge double when kids are involved. Okay, just like a party clown, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there are very few... What?
Nothing.
Thankfully, there are very few people in this world that would purposefully want to harm youth. I don't know about that.
No, not true.
I don't know about that. Skillfully, you beautiful bastard.
Hey, boo-boo.
Keep believing that, please.
I got a list of child predators. It's incredibly long.
Wait, why does
he
Yogi
need
the
to...
Bear...
Yogi the Bear's going to pizza pill you.
Hey, boo-boo. There's a reason that I'm watching out for you. Yeah, anyway. You meet somebody online. They seem like a nice person your age. Then you go and meet them and they're a fursuit full of shit.
I just gotta have a quick aside. Do you think the Charmin Ultra Bears know Yogi the Bear?
I do,
maybe.
and I think there's a lot of contention there. Because Yogi and Boo Boo wear at least one article of clothing. Like they have this, I think they have the superiority complex about themselves. And they look over at these bears who are, for all purposes, naked. You know, and they're obsessed with toilet paper. I get that Yogi's obsessed with picnic baskets, but they do other things too. You know, they have some type of relationship with the park ranger. You know, those other bears, they just like marvel at toilet paper and just shit and clean up their shit all day long. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
It's almost like, oh my god, I think we stumbled on like a really great SCP or RCP. A state park with like gradually smarter and smarter bears, but they're like in stunted groups. Like this one, this group attempts to wear clothing. This group cleans up its own shit.
Have you guys ever seen that? It's on Adult Swim sometimes, but I think it actually originated on Cartoon Network, like the main network. And it's this like horrific, surreal reimagining or something of Yogi where what the fuck happens? Like Boo Boo goes feral.
Oh yeah, I think I actually did see that.
It sounds like a lost episode, but this was a thing that was actually made, and it was first on Adult Swim, and it was when I was really young. And I think they probably got some very angry emails or calls from parents, so they put it on Adult Swim. You can look it up. I forget what it's called, but like just look up disturbing Yogi the Bear thing. I'm sure you'll find it.
So yeah,
was it an episode of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law?
No, but it probably came like right before and after because that would make sense. But yeah, but I do remember that also the episode you're referencing. It's also pretty damn good.
All right. So yeah, that's our plug for the episode.
I have another one.
I don't remember where the fuck I was here.
Neither do I.
Harm youth. Okay. So yeah, we got on the subject.
We were about to have a really deep conversation about cartoon forestry.
Yeah. Why do bears wear clothes? Yogi wears a necktie and a hat. Boo Boo wears a condom. At least on the professional level. Oh wait, what? Okay, so that's the qualification there. Thankfully, there are very few people in this world that would purposefully want to harm youth, at least not at the professional level. Okay. Usually...
A lot of amateur youth harmers.
Hey, my name's Harvey Bickle, professional child abuser. Here's my card. If you need your kid abused, say he's acting out, needs a good smack, yeah, you know who to call, alright?
But yeah.
Do you do emotional neglect as well?
Yeah, it's not really my specialty. I'm more of a physical person, you see. I'm more about that corporal punishment. But yeah, I can neglect the shit out of a child. I mean, you call me and hire me to neglect the child, and I just don't show up. You see, it's easy. Yeah. All right. Just chain him to the stovepipe, and I won't be there.
At least on the professional level. Usually I tend to steer clear of those types, but life just happens sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it was that, or perhaps the other unusual circumstances of this particular job. I started dreading opening this crate.
What's that kid crate?
You ever buried something in the woods? Make sure to bring your fake cranberry bush.
Hey, I was just making my 50th video about Five Nights at Freddy's, and I decided to go out to the store to get another Monster Energy drink, and I ran over this kid. And I know the rules. You run over a kid, it's yours. So now you can buy pieces of them in little crates.
I like how our MadPad impression has now evolved to including a voice that goes rapidly up and down in pitch.
Well, I just can't do it very well, so don't go by me. But
Does Yogi the Bear know the Charmin Ultra Bears?
Is Charmin Ultra purple guy?
Oh, man.
Hey, do you want poop delivered to your door every single fucking hour? Try Dookie Duffels.
We have taken 20 minutes to get through 3 sentences.
Use the coupon SHOTPAT.
It was out of the ground now, and there was no I'm lightheaded. There's no reason for me to stop what I was doing. I kept making shit jokes. No one was around me for miles. I've cleaned up my fair share of blood, piss, and shit before, because of course you have, and nothing really surprised me anymore. Something was definitely off, though. I was uncertain, and it took me a couple of minutes to figure out why. While initially staring down at this box, I realized that it looked a little too clean aside from the dirt. It was completely spotless and the material was cheap. Something should have dripped through the bottom of the thin, shitty wood by now. That's about when the aroma coming from the makeshift coffin hit me. Why didn't it smell?
Shouldn't that be... That's when I realized there was no aroma?
Well, the aroma coming from the makeshift coffin, maybe it'll be like a wood smell and nothing else. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think that could be reworded a little bit. Like, I understand what it's conveying, but eh.
It was just potpourri.
So, we have a plastic cranberry bush. Oh my god. Is this... Okay, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Is this purple guy?
Is the coffin filled with Charmin Ultra?
If this woman had a fake plastic cranberry bush and tried to plant it on the grave, did she hit like a plastic lawn gnome and think it was a kid? Because she's a fucking idiot.
That would be funny.
Did she get gnomed, is what I'm saying.
Hey, does nutjob voice. Hey, you know the rules. If you hear a lawn gnome, you've adopted it.
Oh, man. So yeah, this is me now?
No, it's Abysmii.
Yeah.
Oh.
Assuming that Frederick was being honest with me, he buried him over a week ago. 11 days at least. In this line of work, fear is always natural. You always feel it on every job you accept, simple or complex. It's a good feeling to have, a very positive one actually. It keeps you aware, it keeps you alive, and it keeps you in check. Fear and I have always been on good terms. Now, I was faced with something I had to do, and nothing about this felt natural. There were no alternatives. No chance I ever sleep again without knowing exactly what was in there and why I was hired to find it. The tools in my bag made quick work of it, and the box was now opened.
Inside the box was the body of a stuffed deer laying on its right side. It's the deer's body from the head in the storage unit.
Yeah.
A yellow disposable camera was taped to base of its neck stump, where the head was supposed to be. The neck had been turned slightly upwards to the left, and the lens from its new head was staring right into my soul. I was fucking dumbfounded, instead of Founding dumbfucked. There was no logical reason for this to be here, right? I genuinely thought I was dreaming or crazy or something. I mean, what the fuck? How is one supposed to rationalize this? Okay, Skillfully, we get it. You're gonna rationalize it. We get it. You're gonna explain it. A million thoughts went through my head all at once, and almost all of them were telling me to get the fuck away from this. I still think about what I saw every night. What was the point of it? Not what? What?
Interjecting cat says meow.
No, not such thing. At the time, I wasn't afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. Fear was no longer in control.
I'm not afraid of you.
I'm not afraid of you, deer with a camera head.
I'm not afraid of you, meow.
I'm not afraid of you, Daddy Meow.
Fear was no longer in control. Instead, I was an animal running on pure instinct. The world was spinning around me. Why are you so freaked out about a deer with a camera head?
It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. They got you.
The world was spinning around me, and it felt as though time itself was slowing down. I grabbed my shit, literally, ripped that fucking camera off the stuffed neck, and sprinted away as fast as I could manage.
So he's
Sloppy.
being filmed?
It doesn't say what kind of camera, does it? It says
It said disposable
yellow
camera.
disposable camera. Okay.
Okay.
So
It's
it's not
not
recording
a
him.
video camera then.
Yeah.
It did say, but yeah.
No matter the cost, I had to get out of there. I ran out of those woods as fast as possible, and afterwards didn't stop driving for more than 2 hours before finally pulling over.
You were
to the
right.
side.
You were right the first time.
Finally pulling out over to the side of the road I was on. I remember fighting it, but I ended up passing out on the job. Fucking amateur hour.
So yeah, it was driving for more than 2 hours before I finally pulling over. So that's why that wasn't you. That was
I was driving for 2 hours before finally pulling out.
Yes.
There was a tremendous amount of pain in my arms, legs, front, and back when I was your entire body, bud.
Mhm.
Mm.
My neck, my back,
My
My
left
camera.
index,
my camera, and my crap sack.
my left index finger, my left thumb, my left middle finger, my blood was lightly pouring out of my body thanks to several small cuts and a wound I had received from running like a bat out of hell through thorns and shit.
Mm.
Is this like Dogscape, but like Shitscape instead?
Yes.
It doesn't. I don't think that was necessary. And I was bleeding. You could just say you're beat up. That's fine.
It was hyper realistic though.
Oh.
Hyper realistic shitbag.
Hyper realistic cranberry blood.
Oh man, why? Damn it! That would have been the perfect name for my channel. Hyper realistic shitbag.
I still had the camera resting on the passenger seat and intently studied it.
There was no chance it was recording me. I knew that much even as I was running away. It was a shitty disposable camera, one you would find in a fucking dollar store.
Whoa.
There's an exclamation point, so I had to yell. There had to be a reason, but sound logic was completely out the window. The only real reason I was able to contour up from this mess, correct? Might be, was that I was able to conjure up from this mess?
No.
I don't know. That someone was trying to send me, or possibly Frederick, a message. Was it Frederick and his broad? Were they purple? Why would they have paid me half up front just to turn on me like this? They had sent me pictures of the dead kid, so I knew that part was legitimate. None of it made any sense.
Yeah, it really sucked though when they sent the pictures of the dead kid. They had like all the Instagram filters on it, like he was kawaii, and then he was like a dog, and then he had glasses and a bow. You know.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was a dead kid with the deer filter on.
Yes.
Hashtag deer filter.
What?
It's like no filters, but instead it's exclusively deer filter.
I see.
See, but when they are talking about the contours, see, you read that right. What he was doing is, he fell asleep at the side of the road and he felt bad, and then he woke up and he looked in the mirror and he's like, "Oh my god, I looked awful." So then he started doing makeup. He did a makeup tutorial, did some contours. That I don't know makeup tutorial stuff.
You don't?
I don't.
That's surprising.
What, with how photogenic I am?
Yeah. Alright, so it didn't matter anymore. I had to leave and figure out the best way to cover my tracks. There were two silver linings in play here. The early, unannounced arrival and the woods itself. The place in question wasn't exactly a convenient area to check, and I had the scraps. I had the scrapes,
Scripts.
to prove it.
Scrapes?
I had the craps to prove it. I had the craps. I was shitting myself is what I'm saying. It was now almost 4:45, and the sun was beginning its descent. Whoever this was, they would have to check the woods eventually to see if the deer was dug up. However, even if I wanted to, there's little chance one would be able to restore the area. Oh, I see. Restore the area to its original state in the darkness. Logically, couldn't you just wait and see who pulls up in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Logically, if they really wanted to know if I had been there, it would be far easier for them to simply check that storage locker for the duffel bag. Aha. If it was gone, it would mean I had taken it. If it was still there, it might deter them from checking the woods. Therefore, I had to go back. We gotta go back.
If they really want to know if they've been there or not, they have to check the duffel bag and see if the poop in it is warm or cold.
That's right. Ah, the poop seems to be in order. Wait a minute, corn. Yeah.
Oh man.
Forest corn. Wait a minute.
This entire episode has been sidetracked
Yep.
by duffel bag pooping.
Yeah. Would you say it's gone to shit?
Oh, duffel dukes. The sun was peeking over the horizon.
Wait, I'm sorry. Well, it looks like those Duffel Duke boys are at it again.
This whole episode's gone to hell in a poop bag.
Yeah. All right. I'll shut up now.
Instead of being moonshiners, they're delivering duffel bags full of poop to people.
Wait a minute. Oh God, that gives new meaning to Daisy Dukes.
I don't know how that's going to work. How I don't know how you're going to be able to poop while wearing Daisy Dukes.
What's the challenge?
Hey guys, welcome to the Daisy Duke Challenge.
Daisy Dookie. The sun was peeking over the horizon as I pulled up to the storage facility. The area was certainly less active than it was earlier. I really fucking needed this to be quick. Any cops that were there needed to be taken into account, as well as any other people loitering around Locker 13. Thankfully, I managed to get there with no issues and opened up the locker. They weren't in there, I thought to myself. They weren't here. They weren't in here, I thought to myself. Okay, yes.
Finally, I was able to breathe a sigh of relief. The contents of the locker looked exactly as I had left them. The tables and chairs were all still folded up. The old fax machine and all the crates of discarded electronics were still in the back. Everything should be fine. The duffel bag was promptly chucked towards the back left corner where it had been found. A couple of the items inside were covered in dirt, but I did my best to wipe everything down with a towel from the car beforehand. Hopefully it was enough. After grabbing the base of the rust bucket and was about to roll it over towards the left corner. That's when I noticed the deer head trophy from before now resting atop the fax machine. A man's headshot was taped to his face. He was sleeping in the front seat of a car that looks a lot like mine. I ran out to lock everything up for the last time, all the while trying to convince myself that this person couldn't possibly be me.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So how do we feel about this?
I think this is a very ambitious story. I don't know if the way it was written that the average reader, myself included, is going to get it.
We come back to that thing where it's that possibility that we don't understand the fridge horror twist, where later on we'll be like, oh, of course. So,
well, I think the difficulty is that there's a lot in here. There's a lot of detail, and that's not bad, but I think at some parts it kind of bogs itself down. And when you want to hide fringe horror in something, if it gets lost in the detail, then it's not going to be, it's not going to be able to sit in the back of someone's mind. And I think that's what's happened with me in this story.
I don't think that it's fridge horror.
Okay.
I think that it is a conspiracy that is too big for this person to understand.
Right.
I think that we're getting this person's perspective, and so we're not getting the full story. It's just like, hey, I did this thing and weird stuff happened and I don't know how to make heads or tails of it. I'm just creeped out that someone was taking a photo of me while I was asleep. And so it's kind of like normal porn for normal people. What was the purpose of that? Was it actual pornographic material for people? Like, were they getting off on it? It was like this weird conspiracy that didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but that's only because the people who were discovering it weren't supposed to see it and couldn't make heads or tails of it.
I'm just trying to, this is the point where I am not going to have much to contribute because my mind is still trying to go back and think about all the different facets of it. Like,
yeah.
The camera, I mean, obviously the deer head and the deer body went together.
Mm-hmm.
And the camera taped or whatever to the deer body was representative of the fact that they were going to take his picture, I guess. And yeah, it's just like that's what my mind is doing right now, so I'm not going to be very much help because it's just trying to work over everything.
I do feel like you have to kind of sit back and think about this story a bit before you can draw all your conclusions.
Now, what do we think about the fact that maybe while he was asleep, they put his head on the deer's body, and he drove there and ran in with a deer body?
What if we're all like deers in duffel bags, man?
Wow, that's weird. I can't even fathom that.
What if we're all just like big dookies in duffel bags?
Well, technically, we kind of are.
Technically.
We're kind of all just bags of shit. I mean...
But are we hyper-realistic bags of shit?
So going
hyper-realistic cranberry bush.
Going over this, they sent him the picture of the kid they hit.
Yeah.
So we know the kid is real, at least from the standpoint of they had a real kid that they took photos of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe from the beginning there was no kid and they just had, like, crime scene photos that they acquired somehow and sent to him, like, in a setup, like, for later.
Why would they want to mess with him, though? Like, that's a motive we don't have explained.
Okay. Here, counterpoint. She's a nut job.
Yeah.
And so, crazy people do crazy things. I think that if you're trying to come up with a grand unifying theory of why all of this is meant to fit together, you're going to be disappointed. I think that it's supposed to be a frustrating experience because it's a frustrating experience for the narrator.
Now, what I will say is that when the story first started, and I guess this didn't change throughout it either, I got sort of a sort of feeling like Old Boy, like the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Where it was like he was an old school friend, and he was the only person who knew my face, and then going through this unexplained kind of stuff. And then at the end having it be, I don't know why someone did this or who did it. It sort of gives me like that same vibe of like, boy, isn't the real torture not knowing why someone's doing what they're doing? But
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm just totally off base and just stupid. I don't know. This story makes me feel stupid. Skillfully, fuck you. Not really. It just,
That all aside, like we said, it's a well-written story. It does keep my interest. It is a bit, I can't tell if it's longer than it needs to be because maybe all these details are very crucial. But yeah, no, the ending is definitely sticking with me.
It's actually not that long. We just made pooping and duffel bag jokes.
Yeah.
For
There's
way
about
too long.
25 minutes of shit filler in this.
I should say that I'm looking at how long we've been recording. This has been 5 hours. I would suggest we cut out 4 hours of poop duffel bag jokes and just upload this at around an hour.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of ad breaks we put in there.
Elias, we'll leave it to you. If you like shit jokes... oh, wait, no, he's not going to. Yeah.
If you like your shit jokes...
Now listen.
You're do whatever your Mormon heart tells you to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysmii, Dead Palette, and Slimebeast. Music by Abysmii. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to Fearfic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.
Hello, YouTubers. My name is Pucker Pinkley, and I'm one of the public relation drones here at YouTube corporate offices. Now, you may have noticed several changes have been made recently. We've added stories, we've removed the ability to automatically post upload alerts to social media sites, and our long-standing lack of interest in preventing predatory behavior came around to bite us in the ass. Well, I'm excited to announce even more changes coming later this year. First, we'll be adding the highly requested poke feature. We know you loved this feature on Facebook, so we're stealing it. You'll be able to poke your favorite creators, and those creators will be able to poke the viewers back. I can't see any reason that would be a bad idea. Second on our list, no more titles. Okay? Third, all comments will now automatically filter at the time they're typed. When you click that little comment box and start typing, phrases selected by our staff will appear no matter what keys you press. These phrases include, first, lol, WTF did I just watch? Anyone here from Markiplier? And you can see a boob at 3:15. Actually, I think that last one was from something else. Fourth on our list, we're going to finally update the front page in order to better deliver content you're actually interested in. That's right, one ginormous panoramic live feed of Will Smith's face. You'll be able to pan and zoom 360 degrees around his handsome head, even while he's sleeping. Now, our last update is the big one. We're adding filters. Well, one specific filter. The Late Show filter will automatically apply a suit and tie to any vloggers detected on screen. It will also overlay a non-threatening haircut, and possibly some glasses if the algorithm thinks you need to look a little smarter. Royalty-free laugh tracks will also be played periodically. This filter is not optional. So there you have it. Everything YouTube has planned for the year. We hope you enjoy using our platform as much as we enjoy deplatforming you.
So, Paprika and I just released the newest episode of Raygun after a very long hiatus. It is Season 2 of Raygun Readers, which is a podcast where we do, in a very similar way to this show, except we review science fiction. So if you like what we do here on Fearfic, then go check out Raygun Readers. It's very similar. It's going to be a monthly format for the foreseeable future, as we are doing a lot of extra things in the episodes to make them not just a review. So I hope that everyone finds it entertaining and thought-provoking. So go check that out. We are on YouTube as well, as you can catch the episodes and download them off of my SoundCloud at Abysmii.com. Yeah.
Abysmii.com/paprika.
So
AVI?
.ev. So what you're saying is you review romance novels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Full length, 300-page romance novels.
One of the first episodes we did actually was unintentional. Like, we didn't know it was a fucking romance novel, but it was. Well, it wasn't a novel. It was like a short story, but it like that was weird. Go check out the show to see what our reactions to that shit. That was very strange.
The most recent episode involves male impreg.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. He tore off her clothes in a bit of lustful abandon, and she fucking died because they were in space doing a spacewalk at the time. That was what happened.
Mm.
I tried to have sex during a spacewalk, and now I wish I hadn't.
We didn't go to the moon. If we didn't go to the moon, why is there SpaceX?
SpaceX? That's okay. Oh. Isn't SpaceX a company?
Yes.
Yes.
By Elon Musk.
SpaceX.
Space.
Now we know what he's after, yeah.
By Elon Musk.
It's all a very thinly veiled ploy.
Huh.
To have sex with hot goth girls in space.
He's refining the technology to where it becomes affordable enough that goth girls can buy tickets to go to space to have sex with him.
Oh my god, is Mars going to be like that island that magician invites people to?
Yeah, Mars is just going to be a fucking brothel.
Yeah.
We all know this.